Hello, hello. Welcome to May, the month of Oshun. We are continuing the vibration of love and beauty from the month of Aphrodite. And then today we turn the page and we begin working with Oshun, who is the Orisha of fresh water, of divination, magic, and prophecy. She is the bringer of fertility and life. She is the one without whom nothing can happen. She is the unseen one, present at every gathering, present in the moisture in the air. She is all of the things that make life worth living. And I thought that before we begin today's practice, I would just talk briefly about what it has been for me to connect with Oshun. In 2005, I started a private devotional practice to Oshun. I wasn't within the boundaries of any traditional organization or religion or under the tutelage of anyone in particular at that time, though I did follow the work of Yeye Louisa Tish and still do. And she is still a very important teacher and guide in my life. But I started this private devotional practice because I wasn't sure if I was going to try to join any specific Orisha religion, and I wasn't sure if I was going to take the next steps in any formal way, but I felt a kind of a connection or a kinship, and I wanted to explore it. So what I did was that every month on the waxing quarter moon, I would sit down at my altar. I would get a bottle of honey wine, Tej, from the liquor store across the street. I would pour a glass for Oshun. I would pour a glass for myself. And then I would write her a letter. And in these letters, I asked her for guidance. I asked her to reveal her wisdom to me. If she wanted me to see something or perceive something, I asked for help. I also offered praise. I offered connectedness. I offered my heart. I offered devotion. And every month I would write her a poem. At the end of her letter, I would write a little poem, and it would always start out, by the power of 5, Oshun, goddess of the waxing moon. And then it would go on with the rest of whatever I had been writing about that month. I would sort of summarize in this little short poem. And that practice continued for a number of years. Well, at least 5 years I did that. And I can count on one hand the number of times that I missed, maybe due to travel or, some other thing that got in the way. But I usually did it really, really religiously every single month. And I also had, over those years, kind of a little collection of treasures that related to Oshun that started to kind of come into my life. Like, just like like a little amber bee, a little peacock feather, gold bangles, little things that just kind of came into my life. And whenever something came into my life that she wanted, she would let me know. I would have a very distinct feeling of like, that's mine. And so I would put it on her altar. After 5 years of writing the letters and being really faithful and, continuing that practice, I felt like that particular practice came to an end, but I still honored her. And during that time, I would host an annual party for her. I started that party in 2006. And this year, even though we've had quarantine and everything like that, I'm still going to be doing something for her. It'll be a party of one. I'll go down to the river this week and I will broadcast it to everybody so that we can have an online Oshun party. And it'll be its 15th year of the annual Oshun party. So I just did this devotional activity, not really knowing what I was doing, not really having any particular guidance. But in 2014, I went through a miscarriage, and it was a very difficult period in my life. My friends pretty much disappeared and weren't there for me during that time. People didn't know how to cope with my grief. I didn't know how to cope with my grief. And amidst that, I sort of stepped away from Oshun. I felt betrayed by her because she is the queen of fertility. And so how could this happen when I was so devoted and so faithful? Really struggled to find my connection with her at that time. And I did a divination. Actually, I did 3. I was given guidance in my final kind of monthly ceremony to her. I said to her, I don't know, am I supposed to continue? What am I supposed to do? And she basically said, I'm leaving. I'm going away. And I had a little sorrow about that, but it felt like I had already been through so much loss, and I was still really feeling angry about the miscarriage. So I was kind of like, well, fine, go then. But I also received guidance in that same session that I was to get 3 different readings from 3 different individuals about whether or not I should continue my work with her. So I went and I had the first reading, and the first reading basically said, no, you don't have to. And then a couple months later, I had the second reading, and the second reading again said, no, this isn't where you need to be. So I waited, and I didn't get the third reading right away. I waited a couple more months. And so now we were in early May 2015. And in early May 2015, I had my third reading. And in that reading, it was made very clear that I needed to receive Oshun immediately, like yesterday, as an emergency, because of everything that I had gone through and everything that was yet to come, which I didn't know about at the time. So the next day, with no formal preparation or education, just my, 10 years of personal private devotion, I received a head wash to Oshun. And there were certain terms that had to be fulfilled in order for me to be able to participate in that. As a Buddhist, I couldn't participate in anything that involved sacrificing an animal. So what was very interesting is that during that reading, what came up was one of very few divinations that could have revealed that I was to have a bloodless initiation. And that's important because to this day, I still have not violated my Dharma vows in order to be able to participate in my Orisha devotion. And it hasn't been because I refused. It's been because the divinations have always shown that I have a path, and that the path that I'm on is to be respected, and that the Orisha are here to help me with this path that I'm on, not to change the path that I'm on. So I received Oshun. That night, it felt like workmen were inside of my head moving my brains around. Weird. But after that, the voice of Oshun, which had grown stronger over the 10 years of devotion that I had already had, became as clear, proverbially, as a bell. And when we honor Oshun, we honor her while ringing a bell. This is a brass bell. She loves brass. So we begin the month of Oshun in the Mount Shasta Goddess Temple. And that's my story of how she came into my mandala. And since then, she's been bringing me miracles, protection, affection, and assistance. She has saved me from suicide more than once. She has saved me from things that were not good for me. She has saved me from people who wanted to cause me harm. She has saved me from the worst negative parts of my own self. And I give thanks every day for she who makes life worth living. So this is our Oshun prayer for the month of May. It's an English translation of a classic prayer to Oshun. I bow to Oshun. There is nowhere that it is not known that Oshun is as mighty as a king. She dances and takes the crown. She dances without asking. She arrives and trouble is appeased. She shakes her bracelets to come to the dance. She dances in the depths of richness. The water sounds like the bracelets of Oshun. We call to her, and she answers with wisdom. She can heal what the doctor can't. The Orisha, who heals with cool water. We can stay in the world without fear. Ashe Oshun, Ashe Oshun, Ashe. This May, we're going to work with the Bee Oracle deck. As I mentioned, I have the African Goddesses Oracle deck on pre-order. It'll come in October of this year. So next May, we'll work with that one. But for now, we're here with the Bee Oracle deck, which is by Angie Twydahl of the UK. It's an interesting deck. The cards are hexagonally shaped. Today, our card is the Greek Bee Priestess, Ritual, Purity, Fully Inspired, and it depicts a Minoan bee priestess. So let's see what the book has to say. The Delphic Bee Priestess implores you to acknowledge the gift of prophecy, to listen to the speakers of the truth. Open to the plant medicine gifts if they appear to you in this lifetime. Use your gifts wisely. Seek support and guidance from the Pythia, sisters who have walked the oracular path. Connect with the energy of the Delphic Bee Oracle for specific guidance and messages. The goddess walked to the Cave of Whispers, an underground chamber beneath the bee temple. The ancient passages were used by druids and druidesses many, many thousands of years ago. The passageway opened up into a cave, and inside was a dream lodge, a cave of whispers, where the inner voices became a place of no thoughts, opening to the whispers of the bee goddess. This is a cave of resonance, a seat on the journey of resonance within the ocean of cosmic vibrations. Those with the sight forwards in time were able to interpret this dream space, traveling across the rainbow bridge to reach the pot of alchemical green honey. So much in this one, but the comes to mind for me is that this card suggests that our visionary landscape is not so different than the landscape that we occupy in the physical. We occupy a physical landscape and we think of it as hard, unchanging, real. And then we think of the visionary landscape as being fantastic, imaginative, and ephemeral. But it's not the case. The two worlds of the visible and invisible, of the visionary and the tangible, are not separate. They've never been separate. They will never be separate. Those two worlds, the visionary and the tangible, are one. There's a flowing and seamless fabric that knits them together beneath the surface of appearances. And when we can access that fabric, the fabric of illusory reality, then we can create all kinds of change in our lives. Meditation, ceremony, ritual, plant medicines, and other things can aid us in accessing that fabric of illusory reality that underpins the delusions that we hold of separateness between this world and the other. So, if we're given the opportunity to taste that alchemical green honey, if we're given that chance, ways of visionary landscape, and to allow those dimensions to penetrate this seeming reality, let's take them. Let's take those opportunities today and every day. And welcome to the month of Oshun. That's our short bit for today, if that's what you were here for. Hope you enjoyed. And now let's dive into Guanyin practice. We'll start. I decided to come to this shrine today. I haven't been in here for practice in a while. In the winter, it's not super easy to get here, but when it's cold out, I don't want to leave my house that early in the morning and be cold and have to get this building, because I'd have to get this building warmed up. But now that it's getting warmer, I'm so happy to be in here. We've had quite a few statues of various different Guanyins. This one came just this week. This was a gift from Adora Deva. She donated this beautiful statue. So this statue has joined the fold this week, and there's actually probably about another dozen or so statues that have come in the last few months. Here's one. It shows, it's hard to see, shows Guanyin sitting, holding the world. And we have some big heavy ones that have come in as well that I can't really lift down, but they're here too. So thank you to everyone who's brought in or sent in donations of statues of Guanyin for the shrine. The shrine is just looking so resplendent. Okay, 3 prostrations before this shrine. Here they all are. And let's take refuge. Namo Guru Be. I take refuge in the inner teacher. Namo Buddhaye. I take refuge in the great mother of compassion. Namo Dharmaye. I take refuge in the wisdom of the ages. Namo Sanghaye. I take refuge in the community of practitioners. And let's set our intention, a person or circumstance that will benefit from. And today we're going to be holding Mike, and we're going to be holding Cosette's father. And let's recite the four immeasurables. May I be a source of loving kindness in this world and all worlds, bringing a generous heart to all my. May I be a vehicle of compassion in this world and all worlds, ever mindful and aware of the tremendous suffering of others. May I be a bridge in this world and all worlds, delighting in the happiness of others as their suffering is alleviated. May I be a balance point of equanimity in this world and all worlds, seeing all as equals and all as deserving of goodness. I light this candle as a symbol of the enlightening Dharma way. May it shine brightly for the benefit of all beings. I light this incense as an offering for Guan Xiyin, she who hears the cries of the world, mother of all. Oh, here, there. Omahum. 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 Reverently I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every type of offering, actual and virtual. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in the meditation of all holy and ordinary beings. Please, Guanyin, remain until the end of samsaric existence, and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate my own merits and those of others to the great enlightenment. Recitations of Namo Guanxin Pusa, awakening the compassionate heart of Guanyin within each of us. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin, Namo Guanxin Pusa, Pusa, Namo Guanxin 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 Pusa, Guanxin Pusa, Namo Pusa, Namo Guanxin Pusa, Namo Guanxin Pusa, Namo Pusa, Namo Guanxin Pusa, Namo Guanxin Pusa, Namo Guanxin Pusa, Namo Pusa, Namo Guanxin 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 Pusa, Pusa, Namo Guanxin 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 Pusa, Pusa, Namo Guanxin Pusa, Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, Namo Guanxi Pusa, Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, Namo Guanxi Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, 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 Guanxi Yin Pusa. And we're going to do this brief wind horse practice of Tara by Patrul Rinpoche, but I thought I'd share this wonderful story about Patrul Rinpoche that I read this morning. It was that there was a particular ceremonial place that he wanted to go visit there, and there was nearby a blind woman living in a cave, and he went to her and he said, and she kind of tended the shrine and allowed passersby to stay with her from time to time. And so he went to her, and without revealing who he was, he said, I would like to serve you in order to have, stay here and have access to this sacred place. And she said, okay, no problem. He could stay. And so he stayed there, and he cleaned and he cooked and he made her tea, and he took out her, waste, and he just attended to her every need while he stayed there so that he could go and visit the shrine. And when he did this, the whole time he was there, she kept talking about how wouldn't it be so wonderful if one day she could meet the most famous Lama in the entire valley, Patrul Rinpoche. Lume choksum chidang jetsun ma gyayum pakma drome jintu yi daki tsitso padro nyandrak nam yarnu dadang yarji tsoshin du kipar kaje wangtang lungta nam yampa chitu gyalwa long Shije likpe lamdu drowa dang sering neme dedang den jur shi. Through the blessing and power of the unfailing Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and of Jetsunma, mother of the Buddha's noble Tara, may our lifespan, merit, prosperity, and renown increase like a waxing moon, like a rising summer lake. Especially may our good fortune, Wangtong and Windhorse, Be healed when they weaken, rejoined when interrupted, raised up when sinking down. May whatever we do turn out well, and may long life, good health, peace, and happiness be ours. Lume chuksum chidang jetsun ma gyayum pakma drome jintu yi daki tsetso paljor nyandrak nam yarnu dadang yarji sushindu kipar kaje wangtang lungta nam nyampa sushin chitu gyawa long chije likpe lamdu drowa dang sering neme de dang den jur shi. Now 108 recitations of Om Mani Padme Hum for the benefit of all beings. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 And let's give thanks for our teachers. May all of my precious teachers enjoy long, happy, healthy, productive lives and great support for their good works. May all beings benefit from their wisdom. May they enjoy a swift and happy rebirth. And long life prayer for Lamedechin Yeshiwangmo. Om Swasti. Through the powerful blessings of the immortal Pema Jungye and his consort, may the three secret qualities of the Dakini of Supreme Bliss Yeshiwangmo be utterly stable, and may the light of her activities shine on the lotus groves of the teachings and of beings, so that they blossom in radiant splendor. And let's dedicate the merit. May the merit of this practice and all of my activities be of endless benefit to all beings in all realms, beginningless and continuous. May all obstacles be overcome and suffering cease at the sound of liberation. May all beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all beings have happiness and its causes. May we carry the essence of Guanyin in our hearts. Namo Guanxian Pusa. And we close with a bow to Guanyin, bow to one another, and a bow to the inner teacher. Wishing everyone a wonderful day. Happy month of Oshun.